Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodity ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We still have a discount code going on, LEAP, L-E-A-P, if you're interested. And we've got a question and answer session coming up at 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Sunday. Let's dive in. Let's see what I'm seeing in the charts. And here we go with the dollar. So the dollar is still being resilient. There's some good, I'll say, support underneath us. That's why we've got a wick at the bottom of this candlestick. So it came down, it sold off, and then got bought back up throughout the day. Momentum is heading towards the upside on this candlestick, but we still have downside momentum from previous selling pressure. Are we going to turn or are we going to continue lower where we've got a bunch of support right underneath us? That's the question. And what I do is I go look at yields to see what my answer could be. So we'll go over to yields, and generally when yields go up, the dollar usually stays pretty steady or goes higher. So the 2-year up today, and that still looks like it wants to go higher. So the momentum's to the upside, still looks good. No reversal candlesticks. I would say that the 2-year still wants to go up. We've got the 10-year, which also looks pretty good. A little bit of a profit-taking day today, but we've got a bullish engulfing before it. We have a little squeeze and a break. That looks good to go higher, in my opinion, based off of the candlestick formations and some of the patterns that were leading up into it. And then the 30-year also still looks really good. We've got larger buying pressure candlesticks coming up. We have a small selling pressure candlestick today. We are still above this longer term support line going across. So we have support underneath us. We've got good buying pressure coming up, which is momentum, broken out of this short term little movement there, doing a retest today. And I do think we have the potential to move higher. So the dollar, my opinion is it could still be pretty resilient and move on higher. TYX TNX ratio continuing to invert. Invert. Let me say that again. Invert. The 2-year was up and the 10-year was up more than the 30-year, and we are inverting. Bond prices did go up a little bit on the 20-year. So the short end of the curve went up, the long end of the curve went down a little bit. So the curve inverted quite a bit today. There we are, right at support for the 20-year bond price. 2 and 10-year, very big inversion of the yield curve. So we are inverting further, and we could continue higher in this inversion with the strength here that we've got in this breaking to the upside. So I think the yield curve could even invert further, almost like crude oil is about to break out or something. So gold, now this is impressive, guys. I'm getting more impressed by gold. It held its ground today. It was flat today in the face of an increasing 2-year yield and an inverting yield curve. So maybe if yields get to a certain level, maybe this relationship will break down, much like the 1970s, and maybe we can get moving. That is not what I am predicting. I'm saying we need to visually see that. And if we start laying down some fat green candlesticks, I can be a believer, guys. I can be a believer. But that's got to happen. But right now, it's holding its ground, and it doesn't look that bad. Silver also is holding its ground quite well. We had an inverted yield curve, a bunch of that garbage going on today, which is generally a pretty stiff headwind. But silver, we've got a good drive out of here and small selling pressure. This looks good to go higher. I think we could see silver work its way on up, hopefully very soon. Platinum doing quite well, up 2%, which is good. We've got nice, good support underneath us. Then we also have palladium up 2%. And again, I think this is putting in a longer term bottoming pattern. I know the producers are pulling back on production in South Africa. The big boys are. And they're laying off people. And this is all signs of a bottom that is going to be put in place over the next few months. XAU to gold ratio, strong selling pressure in XAU, the gold and silver mining companies in relationship to gold, does not look as good. There is some pretty good downside momentum, and the line for happiness that I've got here, haven't broken that yet. So we could see this drop further. And given where yields are, given where what oil could potentially be doing, and we'll look at that here soon, it could break to the downside here for XAU to gold. Got the CRB index. CRB index, it's holding its ground today. A little profit-taking day. I call it a bloody nose. We've got some resistance right where we're at. And this looks good if we can break here. And I think we're going to break and run. Do a little break and run, boys. We've got CRB to S&P 500. The S&P did a little launch today. Surprisingly strong over in tech and in the S&P 500. So we're still moving sideways in the CRB to S&P 500. Now, I'm actually kind of curious. Is the Federal Reserve, are they actually holding down gold, and are they holding down oil as best they can? Because if this money rotates over in the S&P 500 and or technology stocks, we're going to see that inflation in the consumer price index, and they do not want that. So we'll see, because most of these moves, and I'll show you in the charts what I see coming up. So GDX continues a little bit lower. It still, to me, looks like, I don't see any reversal candlesticks. GDXJ, same thing. SILJ, same thing. SILJ looks a little bit better. It looks like it's trying to slowly touch a bottom here or something. I got to see some power candlesticks over here, guys. I need the Green Army to show up. Crude oil up 0.7%. We're right on that resistance area. So let's see if we can break through here over these next few days. That's really what I'm looking at. And this looks like a big shoulder head shoulder. So that's what I see there. We've got TTF pulling on back. It still looks like it's pretty weak at this time. Natural gas, it's going to put in a bottom here. It's going to take some time. Probably going to go back and forth for a little bit. So I'm patient there. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, down a little bit, but that is a bloody nose. It looks like we could continue higher. We need oil to get moving. I like this setup in oil quite a bit. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And we're waiting for the break. Be patient. OIH is looking really strong. It's breaking out to the upside today. I think this looks fantastic. People are positioning in energy service, and they are positioning with sentiment at a very low level, which means there's a pretty long runway to go up. So that looks really good. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, lots of selling pressure today, unfortunately. This still looks like it could potentially head lower in the short term. URA also feeling some selling pressure. The momentum's definitely to the downside. We could see further downside in URA. And that also extends to URNM and also URNJ, putting in the bearish engulfing here. Momentum's to the downside. And I don't see that reversing yet. 10 also down. Pretty strong selling pressure. This thing really needs to go down. I don't think they're making much money. So companies that don't make money, you don't get investment. Here is copper. Copper future pricing looking like it's trying to break here. We'll see if it can hold it. If this breaks to the upside, then we've got opportunities ahead of us, boys and girls. Squeezing up here, and we could potentially be breaking. A little early, but we'll watch it. COPX up a little bit, but this still looks pretty good. It's holding on. And if we look at the weeklies, you got a little bloody nose. with a broken down trend line. So we'll see if we can break. It's doing the same thing as the futures pricing. Lithium down a little bit today. It's still holding on. Same with REMX, still holding on, just moving sideways. Not much really to say there. The S&P 500 rocketing higher. Kind of weird how this gapped in the morning like that. Maybe it's the Nvidia going up. And then Nasdaq also up almost 3%. We're back within the rising wedge for both of these. But lots of momentum to the upside, and we'll see if we can punch through it. KRE moving sideways. Doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's just sitting right at support. We've got emerging markets up a little bit, and that's probably, I think the dollar was basically flat, but I think emerging markets looks pretty good here. I think we could start to lift off. It looks good. XHB ripping it today. Wow, look at that. 1.7%. Looking good, feeling good. And I think we're going higher in the home builders. Yeah. Moo also looking pretty solid today. Again, we came back to this support level. We are using it as support, and I think that eventually we'll work our way on up. I think we're going to break here, and I'd be looking. The fertilizers look pretty good, and I think that this will eventually work its way on up. Iron ore also moving up today, but still looking kind of weak. We've got some strong selling pressure. These are flag patterns, basically stair stepping lower. So this isn't out of the woods yet. We could see further downside in iron ore in the short term. Aluminum down a little bit with higher short, short end of the curve is higher. But we were down a little bit today for aluminum. Baltic Dry Index was up 2.7%. That is positive. It looks like we're getting out of here. Hopefully that momentum can continue. I like shipping. Newcastle coal up a little bit, and I do think this is bottoming. Give it some time. It will eventually work its way on up. We're seeing, agribusiness go up. We're seeing the fertilizers start to go up. We're seeing some of the shipping stuff go up. I think this is eventually going to rip, and I think this is a really good spot to be looking. Really good spot. Bitcoin up a little bit. We're holding sideways at this time, kind of just a sideways channel. It is still bullish. And then Ethereum, we had selling pressure yesterday, but it looks like they did a stick save with the wick at the bottom there. It's a stick save. It's no bearish engulfing. It ended okay, and it still looks like we could potentially go higher. And then SMCI was up 32.8%. Now this is where I want to see what occurs here. That is where the double top could be. Let's see what occurs. Are we going to get a top, or are we going to blow through this and go higher? And here's NVIDIA. You guys want to see NVIDIA? There's the move to the upside today. And are we going to continue higher? I mean, it is only a 2 trillion market cap company. It's bigger than Japan's total economy, but we'll see. I guess this is the best thing since sliced bread here, boys. But that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you guys like. Again, we've got a 5 p.m. question and answer session on Sunday if you want to participate in it. Love to have you there. We do have a coupon code LEAP, L-E-A-P, for leap year. It is leap year. You can get 50% off the first month on a monthly if you want to try it. And if you like it, you can sign up to the yearly later if you want, or you can just continue with the monthly. And we'll probably talk about my approach to finding maybe some of these companies, position sizing. We'll talk about some of that in the beginning of the question and answer session. And my approach, when to go big, when not to go big, and try to keep you guys on the safe side. You don't want to go aggressive when things can turn on you, or when the valuations get a little bit like this behind me. I would not be going aggressive here, guys. This is like you can get hurt really bad here, and this is what I see. If you want to see, this is if I were to guess Elliott wave. So you've got a one, two, or sorry, this is the first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, and I think that this is putting in a fifth wave. That's would be my guess. Generally, the between third and fourth, you get this sideways action, and me, it looks like we are putting in that fifth wave peak. We can also look at SMCI. Um, Usually, you get up and you get the sideways action. I don't rely 100% on Elliott wave though, because sometimes it's hard to get your first wave count right and all that. But this is what I see, and I don't. When things go vertical like this, I just don't look at it. It's done. You want to get in before, if you're going to buy it, you want to buy in this breakout there. You don't want to get in, have all that risk. So that's what I've got. I'll end it there. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.